Hello and welcome to Once Upon a Roll, a D&D podcast hosted by me, Rasputin, where I run a new session of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition in the Kingdom of Cortia, a homebrew setting I've been using for 5 years, like 5 years today. Oh, wow.
Wow.
I'm old. Wow. And I am joined today with the wonderful BerryCrepe. Barry, how are you doing?
Oh my God, I'm doing so good. Keep going about how wonderful I am.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
How might people know you on the internet?
I basically am just like a goofy little guy who does a lot of speed runs or challenge runs with Nintendo games, and I stream on Twitch. So thank you so much for having me. It means the world to me.
Yeah, of course. I was thinking about it, and the internet's weird.
Yes.
No, I was thinking about it. I mean, and like me just saying, right, that I've been using this setting. Like the show isn't 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Once Upon a Roll is not 5 years old. But I've been using this setting for 5 years, and it doesn't feel like that to me, right? Like I feel like I just started it a year ago.
Yeah.
Because this is something that I've always done on the internet. I played with internet friends online. It's how I met a handful of people, got close to people. I was also thinking about like, at this point, you and I have known each other for like a year and a half.
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird? Like,
oh my God.
And it's weird to think about different internet friends I've made. And it's like, wow, I've actually known these people for like really long.
That's when we were playing Among Us. You were sus when I met you.
Yeah. Back in the Among Us days of Twitch.tv, a better time.
Now you're no longer sussy. You vented,
True.
and now we're both here together to learn about D&D.
Yeah. So with that, what's your D&D experience? I ask, unknowing as always.
I played D&D one time a long time ago, and I was really nervous. Like I was shy. I didn't want to role play. I just kind of existed. But today I'm going to try to go all out. Like this is my American Idol audition. I'm here and I'm ready to do what I have to do to stop all the ghosts from coming through.
Yeah. Wait, how'd you know that was the session? All the ghosts. It's just Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Oh, I read the script.
Oh, shit. It's interesting. Like, I think there's a cool thing about, and I feel like every episode of Once Upon a Roll, it's me like, hey, everyone, one-on-one sessions are great. They're good. Like, it's how you should play D&D. But I think there's an interesting thing because like when I've had the exact same experience of like jumping into a D&D game, being really excited, and then being at the table and like slinking back in my chair.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I'll swing my sword.
Because if other people aren't into it, then you're like, I don't want to be super into it.
Exactly. And I think that when you're doing a one-on-one session, it's like you don't have anyone to hide behind.
It's just me.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just like, fuck it. Let's go for it. Let's be as weird or exactly the character I want to be, which I think it can help move into that.
Yeah, today I'm here in my D&D birthday suit. I'm just going to let it all out.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think there's no better way to roll into the episode. So wait, what do I say normally? You
got it. Teleprompter.
Where's the script? Shit. So yeah, let's jump into this episode of Once Upon a Roll. The Kingdom of Cortia has thrived for over 1,000 years. In that time, it has endured war against powerful enemies, outlasted deadly feuds between its lords, and fought against evil both of this plane and others. However, during the most recent Festival of the Autumn Sun, the sage's ritual revealed the nearly forgotten omen, the sign of Black Sun. A symbol only seen once before, it had almost led to the destruction of Cortia. Panicked, the common folk in the capital city rioted, and when the dust settled, the king was dead, and his 2 children had disappeared in the night. The lord of the city of Edgewood, Tom Dunn, restored peace to the capital, and with no heirs to the king anywhere to be seen, he decided to sit the throne and take the position of Lord Regent. This story takes place in the village of Maplewood, a cozy town a bit north of the seaside city of Enden. There aren't all that many reasons to visit Maplewood. It doesn't house any stores of note. It's a bit too far from the ocean to have any worthwhile view of it, and more days than not, it contains more livestock than people to talk to. However, every Chon Day night, the town is packed. More specifically, the Wildside Inn is packed. all to see the legendary performance of the one and only Poppy. Now, in Enden proper, there is no shortage of talented musicians, poets, and performers, but people don't go to see Poppy because of her talent. Truthfully, they come because of her entire lack of it. Her performances are that brand of horrible that is captivating to watch, impossible to look away, like a carriage careening off of a cliff. And so every week, people from all around come to hear her songs and bask in secondhand embarrassment. Of course, you, Poppy, are trying to make it as an honest musician. And while you're not sure why folks break out in laughter in the middle of your sets, you largely just appreciate that people are coming at all. That folks will pay for your drinks after your performance. That people seem interested in what you do. However, it is always at an arm's length. And as soon as most interactions start, they end. It's a bit lonely, but you hold out hope that one day it won't be. So that is why you keep getting on stage. And it is why you are getting on stage again tonight. You step forward and look out at the packed house. A few folks are sharing stools and people are standing all along the back of the room. An excited hush falls over as you step out, and everyone looks to you. What do they see?
Oh my God, wait, am I allowed to just say that was really good?
Thank you.
When looking at Poppy, often you'll see a lot of thrown together mixed mashes of clothing items. They're a coat made of leaves, strangly red hair, and although she comes off as bigger than life, she's about 3 feet tall, so very, very small.
You do have a massive stage presence, despite your size, certainly, holding yourself with a confidence. You step forward, the hush falls, and you get ready for your performance. Tell me about your plans for tonight's show.
So Poppy looks around the room, excited with a new song that she just came up with for all of her friends who came out to visit her, or so she thinks. Upon looking out at the stage, she belts out, "Thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate it. And here is my new song for you all." Thank you.
Roll a performance check.
Okay, let me do it. Where is it? Oh, I rolled a 22.
Okay, yeah. You say, then you begin playing your flute, your recorder. Is the performance pretty much just that, or do you kind of jump in every once in a while with some singing and dancing to fill out?
Yeah, like a lot of dancing, some singing, maybe some rapping, interpretive dance here and there.
Yeah, it's just a mishmash of different forms of performances that don't flow well. Improv lyrics that barely make sense. The kind of awkward flailing of just reckless imbalance. All though with the full confidence of someone who knows that they are absolutely killing it.
Yes.
Like no doubt in your mind, just out there. You kind of get into almost a trance state, and people are feeding off the energy that you are providing. And while none of them would say that it is good, probably personally, it is impossible for them not to be excited watching and just impressed with this kind of confidence you're portraying. And as you are dancing around, playing the music, for a moment, it reminds you of your brother and how the two of you would run around in the middle of an open field, dancing and singing like you were the only people in the world. And in this moment, it makes you miss him not as much as normal because it feels like he's almost here.
Oh. Wait, what's his name again?
Prim.
Oh, I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget. Last minute naming.
And then, with the final flourish, I imagine you give a big bow.
Yes, the bow is so deep that it's almost a backflip at that point.
Yeah. You pretty much so you kind of like bow so low that your head touches the ground and you kind of lose your balance.
Topple over a little bit.
Yeah, make a just a dexterity check for me.
Okay. I roll a 21.
Yeah, your head, like you start to kind of lose balance as you tip forward too much, and then you are able to gracefully enough, the most graceful action you've taken up here on stage, like turn it into a somersault and yeah, put your hands out to an additional applause from this audience who are just losing it, standing, cheering, smashing drinks, just surprised that this performance not just existed and not just lived up to the expectations that had been set for them by all the people they have met along the way of like, oh, you really need to check out a Poppy performance. You will never be the same. But you have exceeded those expectations and given something that they'll never forget. And you can kind of see all of them have like a little flush to their face, you know, that sense of secondhand embarrassment that people seem to have come for is definitely high up on here. But it seems like people have enjoyed, to you at least, it seems like people have enjoyed your performance for one reason or another.
Upon seeing how everybody's so delighted in the crowd, Poppy shouts at the top of her voice, "The next round's on me!" Even though she has no intention of paying it and will slip out the back the moment she can.
Yeah. Yeah, so the crowd gets louder, and seems happy about it. The owner of the bar, who you know to be named Lars, gives you a look, because, you've been performing here a lot, and certainly have made him a fair bit of money. He gives you a look knowing, like, you're not going to pay. And just kind of, like, shakes his head back and forth and starts pouring some drinks. As you, kind of give your bow, a few people, come up to you and throw, some coins into like a little hat to hand to you, give some flowers and whatnot, and just general people coming by saying like a quick word or two of like, what a life-changing performance, amazing, revolutionary. And like, as soon as they say their piece, they don't seem all that interested in you responding, and are kind of off and turning back to their table. So it's all quick interactions of them showing like interest in your performance and what you did, but not necessarily interest in you.
She realizes that most of these compliments are coming from a place of not familiarity, but a parasocial kind of thing. And she goes off the stage with a cute little hop and feels a little bit better, but still somewhat empty because she knows that they don't really know her. And she thinks she's on top of the world, really taking in the compliments as if they were true and not in a mocking sort of way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and never, like, none of the questions ever asked are like, how are you? Or how,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like...
surface level.
Yeah. No conversation you have seems to last long, and yeah.
After talking to the fan, she stumbles over to the bar to go and talk to Lars.
So, how was the performance? Did you like it?
Well, you got a packed crowd tonight, so that's what matters.
It's always money with you. Can't you just be happy for me?
He slides over your usual drink, whatever that may be.
What would it be? It's just a glass of sugar with honey.
Okay. I figured as well. Yeah. Which, the first time you performed, he was probably like never going to let her perform again. But then like the following week, people were coming. It's like, hey, I heard that there's a really interesting performer here. Like there was a wild show that everyone was saying was really fun. Is she coming back? And eventually he decided to, bring you back as a regular person here because for whatever reason, as odd as it may be to him, people seem to find enjoyment in what you put out there. Probably the first night that like you came and had a very good performance, like after the weird first one, I imagine would offer you like a really nice thing of wine, like any drink on the house for you, and you were just like, yeah, a cup of water filled with sugar and honey. And he was like, cheap as hell. Yeah, easy. Would have given you 50-year-old whiskey if you had asked, but yeah, easier this way. But yeah, he hands you your drink and seems to get back to trying to serve other patrons of the bar.
After taking a quick sip, she looks him up and down and raises her hand as if she's asking a question in class.
Lars, I was wondering, have you seen my brother? I keep performing every week hoping he'll come out, but I haven't seen him yet.
Lars probably hasn't met your brother, right? But has heard you talk about him, and probably, how would you describe your brother?
I would say he's quite tall for being a gnome. He's got actually well-laid hair, very opposite of Poppy. He has a sort of stature about him that makes him seem as if he is important to others and carries himself with pride.
Lars would like finish up with a different client and then kind of come over and lean at the bar next to you and say, I obviously haven't seen him myself. I do have ears to the ground for you about any other gnomes traveling through the area, but haven't heard anything recently.
Is there anybody in look of an adventurer or somebody that needs someone with great performance, such as I?
You know who's in need of a great performer like you? Is me, this bar. You're doing great performing here and people coming out. That's what matters most. You enjoy your drink, and he goes back to serving people. And yeah, as you kind of sit drinking your drink, being kind of quickly pushed away from, or Lars kind of quickly pushing himself away to get back to the business. Yeah, you sit there. You would notice kind of near you is a half-elven man with a top knot. He has tanned skin of someone well-traveled, sitting near you every once in a while, kind of taking a glance over at you.
She looks over at him and realizes that he's been staring for quite a while. She leans in real close, right up into his ear and says,
Hey, goofball, I saw you looking at me. Do you want something?
He takes a sip of his ale and looks at you again. You know all these people are here making fun of you, right?
She kind of looks shocked and falls back into her seat a little bit, slouching into herself, and twiddles with her fingers, saying,
I don't know. I like to think that everybody's out here to see me, but are you here to make fun of me?
He takes another sip of his ale. No, I'm here for a place to stay for the night, but couldn't really avoid your performance.
I was thinking that maybe I could show you around since you're new here.
He kind of gives you a look and takes another drink. No thanks. At least tell me that you're getting the bigger cut of all this.
Looking down at her drink that's almost empty, she holds it up high and smiles, saying,
Yeah, I get a free honey and sugar every time I perform.
Yeah. What else do you think is part of like the contract that you have in terms of like what you get? Your one free sugar and honey.
Yes, it's probably just that, and then like even like the tips that I make probably go to the owner, but she's just so simple that she's like, okay, I get a free drink. This is pretty fun.
Yeah. And maybe I assume he probably would offer you a place to stay here.
Yeah.
Like it's probably a cupboard. Like
yeah, you probably have to pay for it.
I'll say you don't have to pay for lodging here, but your room is just like what used to be where they stored the mops.
Yes.
No, it's actually where they still store the mops. but you have a bed there as well. So you do have free lodging and your free drink, but it's not glamorous. Certainly the amount and yeah, he asks you to split tips. With him.
Yeah, I imagine that the broom closet is pretty eclectic. She just puts a bunch of items in there that she finds outside or laying around as decoration, even though none of it should probably actually be kept in there. There's like different kinds of bugs and cool rocks she found outside and sticks and leaves all over the wall.
Do you keep like every flower that has been given to you by a fan or something?
Yes, and they're all just like rotting in the corner, but she feels too bad to throw it away, so she still keeps it.
Well, someone spent money and time to give me this, so.
Even if it's like from the side of the road, she still has it in the corner of her room.
Yeah. All right, so while you do get some benefit of your free drink and a closet to stay in, by no means are you getting not just a majority, but even like anything that could be considered a fair share.
Yes, absolutely.
Of the business you bring in, yeah. As you know, you say I get this drink, he kind of like turns back and just starts drinking at his ale again.
Oh, and I also get this really cool room. Do you want to see my room?
No, thank you.
At this point, she's just pretty used to people blowing her off like that, especially Lars, and now this new guy she found next to her. So she's just pretty outgoing anyway and blows it off and just doesn't even care that they want nothing to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
So, you don't want to see my room, but do you want to see my friend's room? Or we can go outside and run around, or we can do something really fun together. Do you want to hang out?
He takes another sip of his ale, says, No, thank you. I'm gonna drink my drink.
She gets awkwardly close to his drink and starts smelling the inside of his glass right when it's up to his mouth and says,
Oh, what are you drinking? Can I have some? You can have some of my drink if you let me have some of yours.
Yeah, as you take a sniff, you've obviously smelled ale before. You know, you perform a lot in a bar, and there's many times where itself just is soaked in spilt ale. You know, you're used to the smell, but probably not a fan.
yeah.
Is there anything I can do to drink my drink in peace?
If you really want to drink your drink in peace, maybe you could tell me what I could do to be your friend. And I can leave you alone for the rest of the night, but I can call you tomorrow and I can talk to you tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day if you want. That'd be so fun.
She's just so desperate for interaction at this point that not only is she pestering anybody who gives her some sort of attention, it doesn't even matter if they're of good character or not.
Yeah, roll an insight check.
Okay, I rolled a 10.
He gives you a long look as you are very desperately trying to grab onto any attention that is being directed your way. With that roll, Poppy does not recognize what this look is. You as the player, I'll let you know, is pity. He kind of gives you a long pitying look, realizing this situation you're in and the reason you're in it. And he puts a hand out and says, "My name's Jalen."
Jalen?
Jalen.
That's cute. She grabs his hand very eagerly and starts shaking it up and down with her whole body into it, to the point where she looks like she's about to fall off the stool.
Jalen? I'm Poppy. Good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Then after staring into his eyes for an awkward amount of time, very, very close to his face, she says,
You come here often?
This is my first time passing through.
Oh, Poppy forgot. Sorry about that.
No worries.
If you want, I could give you a private concert right now. Just don't tell anybody, it's between you and me.
Yeah, very quickly and practicedly, right? You were probably standing on this bar stool and just quickly pull out your flute and give the few notes out. And he seems almost impressed by just like the manicness of Poppy's demeanor. He gives a small little nod and says, "That won't be necessary. I appreciate the offer, though."
She leans over and starts to pat the top of his head because she's standing in what looks like a chair and stacked a couple boxes on it in order to reach his height just sitting down.
Have you heard anything about a gnome around here? He's really handsome and really nice, and he looks a lot like me. And she gives a cheeky grin, although she's still not put together. You could maybe see some resemblance, but not very much.
Can't say I have. Can't say I have. Haven't seen all that many folks on the road. I try to stay unseen while traveling. Usually the safer way, especially in times like now.
This dude's like the awkward guy at the lunch table.
It's when the loner meets the outgoing pick me.
There's so much freedom. I don't know what to do. After seeing how he seems a little uninterested in her, she jumps up on the top of the bar and screams at the top of her lungs,
Guys, look! This is my new friend. His name is, what's your name again?
Get down. And he like grabs your arm and like pulls you down.
No, I'm serious. What's your name again?
It's Jalen.
Jalen. Okay, now I'll never forget again. I will always match a name to a face.
How about this? We share one drink, then I go on my way, you go on yours, and can have a great evening beyond that.
Poppy's thinking we share 2 drinks because there's enough sugar cubes for 2 drinks, and also I think that you need to be a little bit more outgoing, and she gives him a nudge, trying to really break him out of his shell.
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay. I rolled a 19.
Yeah, you give all the energy and charisma you have into it. And, his read on it is less of like, oh, this person has persuaded me to want me to spend time with them, more than like, I'm not going to get out of it. Like, I'm not going to win this. I'm not going to. Fine. We can share 2 drinks.
Although, since she lives here, she's a little bit too comfortable with the surroundings, and she goes around the back of the bar after jumping over the countertop and grabs him the biggest drink she can find, which is like filling a vase full of his liquor of choice, his alcohol of choice.
Okay.
And she goes behind and just grabs the bucket of sugar cubes and comes back to just munch on them. She goes over to him again and says,
You didn't say what size the drinks had to be.
As you're doing this, Lars is like far too busy serving customers to even like notice. And because you are, small and can just kind of walk behind you, he does not see you do it. There's probably a time where he like walks over past you and notices the sugar cubes and the big thing of ale in front of Jalen, and it's just like, whatever, like not worth my frustration at this point. But yeah, Jalen gives a sigh as you bring the big container of ale over to him, which I imagine is just like almost like a little barrel.
Yeah, like like that had flowers in it.
It's probably as like big as you, like as you carry it over. Yeah. He gives a sigh. But, not one to pass up free ale.
Wow, Leech.
Happily fills it up. And yeah, the 2 of you talk for a while. I imagine more so you talking and him listening. And yeah, you probably cover, what topics do you think you cover in general over a 10 to 20 minute span?
I think Poppy probably just talks about things that are pretty much only interesting to her, but she does it with like such enthusiasm that people listen to where she's saying this cool stone she found on the beach the other day. She took it home and drew a face on it and keeps it in her pocket as a friend. Just like stuff like that where nobody in their right mind would even know what's happening or really care.
Yeah. Jalen keeps drinking and you keep talking, probably not leaving tons of space for him to talk in general. There may be a few times where he opens his mouth to say something, but then you just keep moving forward about your rock friend. At a point where there is a lull, though, and he seems to be kind of close to the end of at least one of his mugs of drinks. Certainly not through the whole barrel. But he does kind of look over during a lull and say, you really should ask for more than what he's given you.
She looks a little sullen and realizes that maybe people are taking advantage of her. In a quiet, whispered voice, she says,
But, if I tell him I need more, then maybe he won't talk to me anymore.
And this amount of loneliness that she always feels is just overcumbering her mind, and she needs another round to really get out of it. So she grabs a couple more sugar cubes and dumps them all in her mouth.
Yeah. Jalen looks at you and says, all right, look around this room. Roll a perception check.
Okay, please, okay. Give me the good one, I got a 4.
Yeah, you take a look as he says this, and what you notice is it feels like a sea of people, just in general. You're like, there's a lot of people. It just feels like a big clump. And he says, look out and think about why these people are here. Think about how busy this pub probably is any other day of the week. The night that you perform is the night that people come. Am I right? Do people come other days?
She looks him straight in the eye and says,
I thought you said they're all here to make fun of me. But Poppy thinks they're here to have a good time, so maybe you're right.
And she hurriedly goes to stand on the table right in front of him and says, you know what, maybe I should ask for more. And she turns to Lars and says, Lars, you're taking all my money. Give me some more, or I'm leaving.
Lars, as you say that, kind of looks towards you. But then you realize he's not looking at you. He is looking beyond you, like just past you, towards the stage. And at that moment, as you're kind of expecting Lars to say something back, You turn your head to look in kind of the direction he is, and you see a tall human man wearing a dark blue coat that hangs down to his knees, stepping onto the stage. He has wild hair that hangs down to his shoulders, and big broad shoulders in general. Quite a hulking man, and he pushes his hair out of his face. He bellows out, "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ulrich Coldfellow, and I hope you've enjoyed your evening so far, as it is about to take a bit of a turn." The room falls quiet. "Because you see, my men and I here," and then you hear the sound of chairs being pushed aside, just cutting through the room, as about 10 or so folks stand up reaching for their belts. "Well, we're here to rob you." A gasp goes around the room, and he continues. "There are a few ways we can do this, and one is far easier than the other."
Poppy looks a little bit scared after her outburst over at her new friend and says,
JJ, maybe that wasn't a good idea.
and she's trembling a little bit because she knows she's small, and looks at him again to say,
Is that one of your tall friends?
As you kind of look over and start like saying this to him, but then you actually take a look, you do see that Jalen is taking a step toward the man at the front of the room. And then he takes another, and you see him kind of reaching for his belt. And you can see like what looks to be a dagger on Jalen's belt as he's stepping towards this man on stage.
although she normally is kind of in the sidelines and isn't really all about violence, more about performing, she remembers that she has her own dagger in the back of her pocket, or her makeshift pocket, jumps down and kind of just stays behind Jalen like a lost puppy dog, and holding it in her hand, kind of shivering a little bit.
What are we doing?
Yeah, Ulrich is standing on stage looking out, seeing how everyone responds as Jalen is taking a few steps. Jalen does not pay attention to you pulling your dagger out. He seems single-mindedly focused on this man in the front of the room. He takes one step, a second step, and then a third, and lunges at Ulrich. In one swift movement, Ulrich grabs Jalen's arm and twists it, and the knife falls from his hand. Jalen lets out a little yell. And then Ulrich looks down and says, "What's your name, son?" And through gritted teeth, he responds, "Jalen." And then Ulrich says, "Well, Jalen, you've given us a perfect example of how things can go the hard way." And he nods to a few of his men, and two of them start to walk over towards Jalen.
Let me look at my spells. Am I just able to use them whenever I want?
You can use, you can use them, yeah.
Oh my god, wait, really?
If you'd like to try to use something.
Ooh, it's going down. So now feeling attached to her newfound companion, she's pretty much a ride or die in any situation, runs up to where Jalen is and gives the three big tall men a big stare down before she uses her hideous laughter, which is, she just throws around the joke to kind of maybe make the situation a little bit better. And let me try to think of a joke. What's a funny joke? It should just be bad.
So, knock knock?
She has a worried look on her face, but continues.
Who's there?
And her voice quivers a little bit more.
Orange, you glad
I didn't punch you in the face.
And who are you casting this on? The
guy that's
seeming
holding
leader?
him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What is your... It should be at the top of your spell sheet. What is your spell save DC?
Oh, 12.
So he will roll, and he needs to roll higher than a 12 to save. Okay. Great joke. I definitely appreciate it. All right. So you cast that. So we're going to see if he saves from it. He rolled a 17. So unfortunately, the spell does not take root on him. So that's going to be one of your spells, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
He does laugh. That's a good one, little gnome. And then the two men that come over, one punches Jalen in the gut.
Oh, no.
Ulrich says, "Now, We can do this the easy way, or after the one punch him in the gut, another kicks him kind of in the mouth. We can do this the hard way. The choice is all of yours. And he's looking down at you as you came and tried to like cast a spell, and he kind of lowers himself a bit, goes down to one knee and is just kind of like looking you. He's still towering over you, right? Even when he's like kneeling down. So what's it gonna be?
She looks still a little bit scared, but somewhat confused.
Is the hard way more fun?
And she's always looking towards sort of an optimistic outlook, kind of thinking that they're bluffing and just kind of wants to throw it out there that she's not afraid of anything, even though she really is.
He looks at you and says, you can just ask your friend. And you see Jalen kind of like looking over at you, dizzied, bloodied. And one of the men pulls a fist back and punches him in the face. And you distinctly hear what sounds like a nose breaking.
No! Can you use healing stuff on other people?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Knowing that this could actually hurt Jalen a little bit, she whispers in his ear,
I hope you're ready for a little tingle.
and uses her thunder wave throughout the stage in order to, hopefully break him free.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will warn. Okay, so you could probably do it at the stage and just hit Jalen and the three people.
Yeah.
This is a very crowded bar, so pretty much doing it in any other angle may hit other people.
Oh, okay.
Also, Jalen does look really rough.
Oh,
right now.
Can I heal him first, or do you have to do...
You could heal him first, yeah.
Okay, and then I guess how do you heal people? Like, is it just a spell, or do I give him, like, a snack?
Yeah, so you specifically have Healing Word, which you would cast Healing Word.
Okay, I rolled a 5. I don't think it's very good.
I mean, it is a decent amount of healing. It does seem like he's pretty hurt in general. So, like, you see a couple of cuts, like, close up. He doesn't seem like back to full fighting fit, but maybe a little close, a little further from the brink. I mean, definitely, if you want to use that attack, you would hurt Jalen, and it probably would put him in a pretty bad situation.
Oh, then maybe after healing him, does Charm Person only hit one person?
Yep.
She looks at the big guy again, holding on to Jalen, and says,
Would you really want to hurt the cutest little gnome you've ever seen in your life?
and uses her charming personality in order to dissuade him from causing any more havoc.
All right. This is a big roll. Your DC is 12.
Okay.
So if he rolls below a 12, then he will be charmed by you.
Okay, wait, below a 12?
Yeah, so, yes, below a 12. So if he rolls a 12, he does save, unfortunately. All right.
Okay. Come on, bring Mama a new pair of shoes.
He rolled a natural 19.
What?
Which is quite high.
Okay, what is this guy eating? What is he eating?
Just these good rolls. Don't worry, I'll roll terribly soon.
Oh my god.
He will look at you in general and say, listen, I don't want to hurt anyone here. This was because he attacked me. And I do appreciate a good hero. But I'm just looking for your belongings. So, if you would just give your things to my men, it'll go a lot easier.
Because she has pretty much no belongings of her own, since she has no money and just lives at the tavern in the back closet, she grabs the rock with the smiley face out of her back pocket, holds it up towards him and says,
You can have my best friend. This is all I have.
And looks down, almost on the brink of tears, having to give up her rock with the smiley face.
His name is Rocky.
Yulrik looks and smiles and grabs Rocky and puts it in his pocket.
No.
Thank you. Now the rest of you can do the same. And you see his men kind of bringing around bags going up to the various patrons in here who all look terrified at this exchange. Seeing Jalen who probably looks to be one of the more solid fighters in this bar,
Oh,
right? Just
no.
get demolished quickly. And, you know, they just start taking their belongings, giving their coin purses to the men and any jewelry they have on them. You see Yalric lean over and pull a ring off of Jalen's fingers, one of his fingers, and say, "Sorry that today was not your day, boy." Then puts it in a pocket. He takes then a step towards you as the men are collecting things and says, "I'll also need your flute."
Now, a shocking, terrified look comes across her face because the flute is something that her brother gave to her before he left and never really returned home. It's a very, very important item to her. I mean, Rocky was too, but just not on the same scale. And in a quiet voice, she says, "No," and tries to grab the bag and run out the back door.
Just like her stuff, or?
The bag that they were like collecting all the things in.
So they definitely have different bags. Like each of the men kind of have one. So if you want to try to grab something of someone near you, you could do that.
Oh, can I grab Jalen's hand and like try to bring him out the back door? Or do you think he can't like run?
He seems like close to being knocked out.
Oh, this poor guy.
You healed him. So, you know, he's kind of just laying there. Yeah, you could try to lead him. He's not like completely out of it because you healed him some, but he does seem a little wary of moving around after getting his ass kicked.
I guess I would say that Poppy just holds on to her flute as hard as possible and grabs for Jalen's hand. And she's looking towards the door to make an escape because there's nothing that she can really do. She's so small and pretty much can only heal and play music. So her combat is pretty lackluster.
And all of your good combat spells would probably kill everyone in the bar. Yeah. So yeah, you grab for Jalen's hand and he kind of like turns his head towards you and looks, at this act of kindness. And are you kind of like pulling on like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, she also just like says to him,
Sometimes to be a hero, you have to know when to skedaddle.
Yeah. So as you're kind of doing this to try to get away, Yulric sees it and laughs, and he is then going to kind of try to grab at you to like grab your stuff and just take it from you as you're like holding on to Jalen's hand.
Mm-hmm.
As Jalen kind of looks up and notices this, he pushes you away like towards the door. And like brings like a leg around to try to trip up Yulric, and it kind of hits him in the back and staggers Yulric a bit, which gives you a moment to run uninterrupted if you would like. And Jalen's kind of like, go!
Oh, I don't want to leave him. No, I'm already attached to him. I think I might, since he can't get through the door, since he's kind of on the floor after tripping Yulric, she takes out her dagger and looks him in the eyes and kind of wants some reassurance from Jalen that, she could take this moment to kind of maybe cut Yulric's ankles to grab Jalen and get out the door.
Jalen seems pretty, like, as you kind of take a quick look at him, after he pushed you and said go, his focus seems like to be on Yulric. It seems like his goal is like, he saw your kindness, appreciated it, but didn't want you to get caught up in getting the shit beat out of you as well. So his goal and his attention is focused on Yulric. He is trying to act as a distraction for you right now. It is like what you would pick up. If you would like to try to slash at Yulric's ankles, go for it. But you get the sense looking at Jalen that his goal is to help you at this moment.
Oh. Oh, okay. So, can I use Shatter?
Let's see. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point must make a con save. It takes 3d8 thunder damage.
Oh,
on
that would
failed
be
save.
everybody in the room.
You would hit a lot of people in the
No.
room. You would hit Jalen with it. You could do it.
No, I don't want to leave him alone. I feel so sad. He's like my brother. I only knew him for 20 minutes. Could you use like Presto to make it look like something's on fire or something?
With Presto, you can instantly light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire.
Oh.
So I think I would say I would allow you to let something kind of not in it's not a way that's going to cause damage. It's really a distraction sort of fire. Yeah.
Oh, there's so many options. How do people pick?
Whatever sounds coolest, usually.
I wish I had picked more combative abilities. It's starting to get me now.
You have some good combative abilities. It's just a tough
area.
situation for them, yeah.
Not giving up on her newfound friend, Poppy stares at Ulrich menacingly and screams, "You stinky, gooby, dummy head!" and uses her vicious mockery in order to maybe knock him out or buy some more time for JJ to come to the door.
Yeah, so, you're a little bit of ways as Jalen made some room for you, which I guess, I imagine you used that to, make a little distance between you and Ulrich so he can't just, grab your flute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you, give out the best string of insults. And yeah, he will make his wisdom save. And yeah, your save is 12. Your DC is 12, so he needs to...
Please.
7. Okay,
Finally.
so yeah...
The pity roll.
You got a 7, so...
I got a 2.
2 damage. All right. In general, this spell is not necessarily a high damage one. But I will say, as it hits, and he is not the type used to having someone insult him and it giving him a migraine,
Yeah, just an annoyance.
Yeah, he kind of looks at you confused. You see a little trickle of blood come down his face, and he wipes it away, and he looks confused, which I'll say gives you just a moment to try to escape. And Jalen kind of looks and seems like he's going to try to take it and follow you as well, assuming you're trying to run out.
Okay, and I probably run as fast as my little legs can take me out the door, leaving it open so that Jalen can follow behind. In the back of her mind, she's hoping that he does, because she's already really attached to him as a person who even gave her the time of day to talk beyond a surface level conversation.
Okay. You say the words. Ulrich seems confused at this weird headache that came from you insulting him. Jalen sees the opening and follows you. Make an athletics check of you just kind of sprinting out the back, trying to avoid anyone.
I rolled a 13.
You start running out as fast as your stubby legs can take you, and Jalen uses this moment to kind of dodge out of the way and roll and follow after you, avoiding the grab, not of Ulrich, but of one of the henchmen with him. And yeah, starts running. Jalen catches up to you pretty quickly as he's much faster than you.
Has regular legs.
And I assume probably as you're going, he gets a step ahead of you, and looks back, and then just scoops you up and starts carrying you, to move a little faster as the two of you start running out the door. You hear yelling for a moment from some of the men, and eventually, as you can kind of hear the footsteps and yelling of some of the men trying to follow you out the back of the tavern. But then you hear Ulrich just say, "Stop. Let's focus on what's on hand. There's just 2 of them. It's not that much." And yeah, the 2 of you run out.
I how just peace out.
Yeah, the 2 of you peace out of this tavern as they continue to rob it.
Wow. Not my problem. Poppy adjusts herself on the top of his shoulders, kind of climbing up a little bit to sit on the top of them in order to see around and kind of free his arms up. And she kind of gives a little bit of a chuckle and says,
I said you were my friend, and I meant it.
And she grabs her flute from her back pocket and kind of gives it a little rub on her face and looks pretty much extremely happy that she got to keep it, as it's really the only thing she cares about in her life.
Mm-hmm. He just keeps booking it, trying to get far away, not wanting to get killed by these people at this moment. And yeah, eventually moving a little outside of town, finds a little patch of trees that he, gets to, kind of darts behind to get some cover, sets you down, and starts catching his breath and like wiping at his face like the blood that was on it.
Being always around nature, she grabs a couple of leaves and twigs and some berries that are around in the forest and starts making a concoction. She rubs it onto the leaf and then puts it all over his cut in order to heal it, or at least aid in stopping the bleeding, and says,
Look, I'm here as much as I shouldn't be. I'm here to help you, and if you need anything, just ask.
and with her comforting words, she hopes that it'll calm him down and make him feel as if he is comfortable again.
Yeah, make a medicine check for the things that you're gathering up to make.
Oh
like, a
no,
little
they're
salve.
poisonous. Medicine check. I rolled a 14.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know enough about the stuff around the area that usually goes well, and probably find some like aloe or something, leaf to rub on it and mix it with some water. By no means do you ever feel like, you're certainly not someone who's super, super knowledgeable on this sort of thing, but you've learned enough, and I imagine your brother taught you a fair amount about these sorts of things. And yeah, you make a little salve and rub it on a few of the wounds, and seemingly doesn't necessarily heal his hit points, but does bring relief to the fight. He seems pretty like frustrated in general, but it does seem to calm him a bit.
Debbie Downer. After seeing how he's still frustrated, Poppy wants things to calm down a little bit more and kind of ease his emotions. So she brings up a different conversation and simply asks,
What are you even doing out here? Nobody ever comes out here.
and gives him, a couple more ointments on him, not necessarily doing anything, but kind of just relieving some of the stress.
As you're kind of, applying that, he like looks out back to the town, and you can probably, roll a perception check. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've had some pretty bad rolls, so hopefully nothing bad happens. And I rolled a 19. Fuck.
Nice. Yeah, you see him kind of like looking back to the town, of which, you've gotten a little bit on the outskirts of it into a decent enough hiding place. But there still is, from a distance, a view of the tavern. And, he's kind of just like looking at it, keeping an eye out. And at a point, you can kind of hear the loud voices of men coming out and jumping onto horses, laughing, and then riding away, which you take to be Yulrik and his men, followed by kind of the slow trickle out of people who are frustrated and embarrassed and angry that they have had this experience, and certainly just nervous in general from the experience they just went through. And he's just kind of looking out. He's like, I thought I was gonna die.
Kind of sensing his agony over the situation, Poppy tries to relieve the moment and says,
Well, you thought you were gonna die, but I need a new job.
and hopes to bring up his a joyous laughter or something that can make him forget about the moment.
He kind of looks at you and ignores the attempt. And you see him kind of move a hand to his finger and rub the finger that used to have a ring on it that is now empty.
Oh no, it was Gucci. She like grabs his hand and his finger, and pretty much her whole hand wraps around the one finger that he has, where he's rubbing it for the ring, and says,
Was that something important to you? Like how Poppy's flute is important to her?
Kind of looks at you like wanting to be frustrated at you, and like wanting to be angry at Poppy, but just recognizing the innocence, He says, yeah.
"Oh, it makes me sad." I feel like I'm gonna cry in real life. Poor dude. As a last-ditch effort, she normally isn't a very touchy, loving person, but she kind of just gives him a hug around his arm, around his bicep, and says again,
Friends are always here for friends, and I said I was gonna be your friend.
He seems taken aback. You get the sense, roll an insight check. This is
Okay.
a roll.
a roll, yes. Insight. Submit. I rolled a 4.
Poppy would get the sense that
She's an empath.
Poppy would just get the sense probably that he didn't get enough hugs when he was young
Are we projecting?
and isn't used to it.
Does this become a projecting therapy session?
But no, yeah, Poppy would kind of get the sense of just like, your read would be that he seems taken aback, and you just kind of assume like the answer is Poppy giving a bigger hug.
I feel so bad. This is so sad. Is it always this sad?
Sometimes it's D&D.
But
I mean, regardless what you can tell outside of an insight check, he does seem appreciative of your kindness. You know, you don't even need an insight check for that. Like he does seem like having someone here right now who is like at bat for him means something, you know?
being somewhat of an awkward person, Poppy just jumps back a little bit, grabs her flute, plays a little hot cross buns.
He like grabs it and like puts it down and like is like looking out like at where the men had been riding away just to make sure that like none notice. And he seems panicked, but then he realizes like they seem to be a distance off and like moves back and just leans back against the tree.
Oh, you want a silent performance? And she starts to do a couple of random flips, like a child being like, "Mom, look at this, look at this." Just
Yeah, roll an acrobatics check.
I rolled a 17.
You do some nice flips.
Nice.
And as you're doing, like, I mean, this is probably just how Poppy, right, has learned, like, what people need is distractions.
Yes.
You know, like, and that is how she tries to cope with any sort of frustration or sadness that someone has. Right. Is that a good read?
Yeah, like even if she's frustrated with herself, like if she's mad at something in her room or thinking about something, she'll just randomly start doing flips.
Yeah.
Like what are they? The puppy dog?
This is how you get happy. Yeah. He'll kind of put a hand up. Poppy, stop. I appreciate you helping me get out of there.
Trying to take the situation a little more seriously, she just gives a nod and she thinks and says out loud,
When Poppy is sad, she eats food. Do you want to forage around or something?
and grabs a handful of berries, handing them to him, not even knowing if they're poisonous or not.
Yeah, as you like kind of grab berries around, he like looks at them and seems to sort of pick through the different bushels that you maybe like bring over. He seems pretty knowledgeable actually about what might be poisonous or not.
Ooh.
Pushes away some that very clearly are, and then takes a different handful and eats a few of them, probably telling that he could use some food, and offers them back to you as well.
Kind of stuffing them in her cheeks like a chipmunk and having no manners, just speaking while chewing her food. She wants to show her support and lets out a very hearty, "We're gonna go get your ring back," and gives him a couple more nods and excitement and enthusiasm.
He takes a long look at you. You just met me. Why do you want to help?
Because no one ever wants to help Poppy.
He's definitely taken aback by that and opens his mouth to respond and then closes it and then opens it again to say something else, but realizes like there's nothing to say to it. And then he just nods.
She starts to kind of make a camp at where they are in order to have a place to sleep for the night. Just some bushels of leaves, survivor mode to lay on. And she kind of just turns over and lays on top of them and pretty much just goes straight to sleep. No hesitation, no nothing. Doesn't even warn him, just knocks out.
Yeah, he, definitely like wanting probably to have a little fire going. He would like keep vigil over a little fire for a little while, just to get some warmth and have something to sit and look at. You would notice that kind of as you are heading to sleep, he would take a look over, and this is the first time, as your eyes are like blurring and you're closing them. Like you see the first smile you've seen from Jalen. It's just like a very quick one.
Oh my god.
But just since meeting him, the first actual smile, seemingly very appreciative of your offer to help and all that.
This is my dream as an emo child. I just the smile of an emo man.
Yep.
I'm just writing my own fan fiction right now. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And yeah, you fall asleep quickly and, you know that you're relatively, granted, obviously a town did just get robbed, so there can be danger anywhere, but being close to the town, you're relatively in a safe space, right? Like there's not going to be tons of wolves or bears or bandits coming on. Typically, it seems like that was a very targeted hit that happened earlier in the day. You wake up at a point and you see that Jalen has fallen asleep, just leaning against the tree. Like sitting up, leaning against the tree, and
emo.
Yeah, hood up over his head, and you wake up as the sun rises, and Jalen stirs as well. And yeah, you have that's a long rest, so all your spell slots are back.
Yes.
I don't think you took any damage. Only Jalen took damage, but yeah, you wake up the next morning. Jalen seems healed up for the most part because that's how healing in D&D works.
Oh, nice. He's going to sleep and everything's back to normal.
Exactly. He's definitely like bruised, and you can tell bruised ego too is a big part of it. But he seems healthy again for the most part in the D&D sense, at least.
What about his emotional scars?
Yeah.
Okay?
You see that like sitting next to on the fire is a skinned squirrel, and he kind of starts up the fire. He's like, I saw this running by our camp last night. If you're hungry.
She gasps as loud as she can and says, Puppy no eat animals. Why did you do this? And looks very sad towards the squirrel because she lives in such a rural environment, and being a gnome, she really just wants the best for all of the animals around her.
Sorry. Sorry. He moves it away kind of out of your sight.
Grabbing a couple more foraged items for the road, like nuts and stuff. She takes a couple bites, leans over, kind of gives him an up and down after the predicament, and asks,
Do you know where other tall people live?
Thinking that they all live together and trying to track down his ring.
You're saying non-gnomes?
Yeah, tall people. Really, really, really tall people. Not like Poppy.
Like people my height?
Yes, just like you.
We live everywhere.
Everywhere?
In the cities, in this town.
Well, I want to go get your stuff back. Do you know what tall city or tall town they might be in?
I figured we'd start by heading back to the bar and looking for their tracks. They rode off on horses, so they probably left some sort of trail.
Okay.
And we'd follow that.
Don't let my old boss see me. I think I just quit by accident yesterday.
Okay. Well, we can just go outside the bar if you don't want to go in it.
Okay.
Do you think anyone there would help us?
There used to be a woman that I saw there a lot of the time. She might be there this morning if we want to check.
Okay.
Okay. Then they start, I guess, like...
Is she a fighter or a tracker or...
Like walking over there while he's just kind of walking and talking. She's kind of skipping and frolicking. She looks up at him.
Poppy, is the woman you?
Sort of stun-locked. She says, well, I was there all the time.
He gives a sigh. So it'll be the two of us then.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and the two of you head over. Yeah, the two of you walk up to the tavern and start looking around. He seems to kind of like bend down and look at the dirt. Are you going to attempt some sort of investigation as well of
Yeah, like I think she sees in the distance some sort of rock that has a marking on it, but she might not know for sure. So she kind of points at it and says,
Look, over there.
He kind of looks and says, why don't we focus on finding footprints first?
"Okay."
You get the sense like he's quite an accomplished tracker. And is like, Poppy may be right. But let's start with footprints. So why don't you roll a survival check? He's also going to roll one.
Okay. I rolled a 9. Da da da.
9. Okay. You are able to see a lot of footprints in the dirt. There have been a lot of people here last day. And definitely one thing you can distinguish is there seem to be what look like tall people footprints, and then also what look to be hoof prints.
So, can
Tall people have weird feet, and she kind of points at the hoof prints, not really knowing too much about the tall people around her because she lives in pretty much just this little tavern and has never been out in the open other than whenever she lived at home in the forest.
Well, actually they can. There are centaurs. I don't think that's this. Centaurs, half humanoid, half horse. These might just be horses, though.
She contemplates, kind of nodding, making mental notes that she's going to probably forget in about 5 minutes. And gets down on the ground to kind of smell some of the prints, and she thinks that
this one kind of smells like that big guy. He was kind of stinky.
He gives a look, and he nods and says, I was thinking something along those lines. Maybe we follow these horse prints, and they did seem to ride off on horses, so might lead us in the right direction.
She kind of, since he's on the ground, she sees it as an invitation for her to jump up on his shoulder and kind of just exclaims, let's go, horsey!
Yeah. He gives a sigh, but also seems to realize that there's no one else to help him and has appreciated your kindness and allows it and starts walking. After you're walking a little while, you get to the rock that you pointed out. Is this a rock that you have drawn on or something?
Yeah,
Is that the thought? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So what's on the rock?
Oh, look, that's Rocky's big brother, Rockifer.
He's some kind of a giant smiley face kind of squiggled about it and not very drawn very well, but you can tell that it's smiling.
Mm-hmm. Mm. He kind of looks at you, looks at Rockifer, looks at you again. You can tell there's something that he doesn't want to ask, but then realizes he just is going to ask it. Do you think Rockifer saw anything?
She looks Rockifer dead in the eyes, kind of like she's listening, but it's probably just in her head. And she points in a random direction following the footprints and says,
They went that way, and he wants us to bring Rocky back. Is that okay?
Yes, that sounds great. And as it's along the line of where you were already heading, he's like, yes, we can do that.
We need some jetpacks or something.
And yeah, the two of you continue along. There seems to be a point where the hoof prints stop and Jalen kind of searches around to see where they continue. Why don't you roll another survival check?
Okay. Please be good. Please be good. Please be good. I rolled a 19. Ta-da!
Yeah, so it seems like there's a point where they go off of the main path and start moving into a little bit of a wooded area. And Jalen is kind of looking around, seeing, knowing no prints just end like this. They must have gone some direction.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at different spots just off the trail. And you actually notice some prints before he does.
Looky, is Poppy doing a good job? There's prints everywhere. Look right there.
He, for a moment, ignores you. I'm yes, I'm sure there are, Poppy.
And she kind of just nudges him again. No, I'm serious. Look. And it's really just a child kind of pushing him around and showing him something important.
He looks over. He's like, oh shit. Poppy, good work.
She pretty much has the biggest smile she's had all day across her face and nodding. Like, she's normally not used to praise and acceptance like that, so it really hits her deep, and she's very happy that she feels like she's found a real friend.
Yeah. The two of you kind of continue along this new path, and every once in a while it weaves and winds, and Jalen seems largely on it. He's trying to keep pretty quiet as you are tracking folks, but there are a few times he makes conversation. And at one point he says, "So tell me more about that flute of yours."
She already had it in her hands, like, most of the time, just kind of holding on to it for comfort. Feeling somewhat satisfied and relieved that he asked, because most of the time people really don't give her the time of day with her own life beyond her performances. She looks up at him and says, "This was my big brother's. One day he just left Poppy, and I'm trying to find him." Although she looks sad, she also looks a little bit hopeful, hoping for some reassurance from her new companion.
He gives a nod. It can be hard to have family leave. People you care about leave.
Has that happened to you?
He touches his ring finger again and says, "In a way, I guess I've kind of been the one to leave."
Wanting to get some more information out of him, but make it less awkward, she says, "Do you want to sing about it?" And takes her flute out, hoping that maybe he'll provide some lyrics and express his feelings to her.
Roll a persuasion check.
Persuasion. Charismatic. I rolled a 19.
Okay. He gives you a look. Not when we're on the trail. Not when we're on the trek. We wouldn't want to alert anyone to us, but I'll consider it. I'll write something out. And one day we can.
The sparkle in her eye shows that she's actually really excited to make music with somebody other than just herself.
Thank you. I've never had a duet before. I'm really excited.
He nods and yeah.
Now you have to write a song. I'm gonna play while you sing it.
Shit.
You just have to freestyle.
And yeah, the two of you continue kind of tracking things. Every once in a while losing the different sense, but eventually Jalen or yourself are able to continue on and keep the search going. And, a few hours pass. It does seem like they traveled pretty far. They probably wanted to get a decent ways away from the village or any sort of thing that might make them easy enough to find. Yeah, the two of you continue along, and you definitely get to a point where it's like mid to late afternoon, and you're like taking a few steps forward. I imagine you're probably every once in a while just zoning out, like with a song in your head.
Yeah.
And you feel like at a point like just or you see Jalen like kind of put a hand out in front of you and like put a finger to his mouth to indicate to be silent.
Kind of with puffed cheeks, trying her best to win the silent game, she whispers,
What do you see? Why are we being quiet?
Roll a perception check.
I got 15.
Okay. Yeah, with a 15, you kind of sit and listen as he's saying, like, as he gives you the signal to be quiet right after you ask, and he kind of like points in a direction. You see like a thin trail of smoke that looks like it belongs to a campfire coming out of some trees, and the sound of a handful of people kind of talking, laughing every once in a while. It also seems like there are horses in the area, stomping and neighing every once in a while. It seems like a group of people that are camped away in a pretty, you are pretty like deep into the wilds. You are far off the main road. This is not a spot that most people, would just come to. So you would get the sense, although you don't have a visual necessarily, that you are in very close distance to the Yalric and his group.
She starts skipping forward, kind of like looking back at her friend and thinking, maybe they want to be friends with them as well, not fully understanding that it could be Yulric. And she's starting to pick up pace, walking towards them, hoping for another round of friendship and companionship with other people, and just says, "I'm so excited, let's go see."
He like grabs your arm and is trying to like move you away from that camp. and like is giving the sign like, no, not a good idea.
Oh,
Like,
so you're
not-
jealous? You don't want me to have other friends?
He's like, shh, it's them.
So what do we do?
And she kind of rummages around, knowing that she really only has like a couple sticks, her dagger, and her flute on her, holding out them in front of him to show that she's pretty much unarmed other than her dagger.
He takes a look. I'm pretty good at sneaking around. I can try to get a look and then come back and tell you what everything seems like.
Okay, Poppy, sit right here.
And she kind of like pops a squat, and all the dust and dirt on the floor kind of like lead up and explode away from her.
Yeah. He kind of looks where you sat, which I imagine is just out in the open.
Yeah.
And like kind of just nudges you to be at least behind a tree.
Oh, okay, we're going to be secret spies.
She kind of just like maneuvers behind and peeks out looking at him.
Yeah. Roll an insight check.
Okay. There's a lot of ins. Insight, intimidation, investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 14.
Yeah. What I'll say, what Poppy sees is like a look of fear across his face. What you as a player would be like, what I'll let you know, like the view if you were watching the movie is like his internal monologue is, we're gonna die.
No.
But she's like, stay here, all right?
Okay, but be safe.
And she just kind of reassures him that everything could probably be all right after seeing his face. But inside, she's a little worried that things might go wrong.
Yeah, he gives a nod and he says, if you hear this noise, and he kind of puts his hands to his mouth and makes what sounds like a little bird whistle, which sounds very organic to the area.
Now you have to do it. I'm immersed.
But good, but good.
But good. Okay,
yeah. He does that and says, if you hear that, run.
She nods, but still after the first time, she doesn't really want to leave him behind, and it shows on her face that anxiety's kind of coming in, and she knows that friends never leave friends, so she just agrees to make him feel better.
Okay. Roll a deception check.
Now I'm a liar.
Yeah.
I rolled a 17.
Okay. He certainly is someone who seems to struggle to get a full understanding of you. But as you nod, he seems content with that and doesn't try to be like, seriously.
Yeah.
And yeah, he skulks off, puts his hood up and kind of starts darting between trees. 5 minutes pass.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes pass.
She's still sitting on the ground, kind of like behind the tree, drawing in the dirt with a stick, just entertaining herself so that way she doesn't run off and go see some things in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Since 5 minutes have passed, she kind of just starts becoming worried and steps out from the tree just a little bit with the little courage she has left.
I hope he's okay.
And she starts making it closer and closer to where he originally had went into the trees.
Yeah, roll a perception check.
Perception roll. I got an 11.
Yeah, as you take like a step out, you hear Jalen's voice from the side of you. I said don't go anywhere.
I was scared. Poppy was really scared that you got hurt.
And she's kind of like overwhelming at this moment, like looking at him. And then she walks up to him very carefully and quietly due to her small stature and just kind of like goes up to him and hugs his arm again.
Did you see anything? I'm still kind of scared.
It's okay. Yeah. He puts his hood down and sits and kind of like starts drawing out some stuff in the dirt. There's a total of 10.
10?
10 of them, including their leader, Yelric. So there's a fair amount. It seems like at any given time there are 4 who are kind of standing watch a little outside of the camp, kind of doing a patrol. And the others are mostly just around the fire, eating, counting through the stuff they got.
Poppy has an idea. Do you want to listen to Poppy's idea?
Knowing that he has no choice but to listen to Poppy's idea after spending this much time with her, he just nods and says, yes, Poppy, I would.
What if I make a fire in the corner to catch the guards' attention and distract them so we can either go after them or go into the big of the meat?
He kind of gives a thought. So distract the camp to get them to do what? Go somewhere further away or just...
The guards.
Okay. Are you just trying to distract them so that we can attack the guards or...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she like nods feverishly, kind of excited for the chase, but still very nervous.
He gives a thought. Certainly we could. I mean, night is coming soon, so we might be able to go through and distract the guards and take them out. I don't know if you want to do that one by one. I worry that if we make too much noise, we'll attract the other people in the camp.
So, do you have a better idea?
Somewhat like annoyed that he didn't instantly agree with her.
No, I think your idea to distract them is great. I don't know that fighting 10 people is really going to be the best for us, unless we do it kind of one by one, which might be hard. I think the distraction's great. We just need to figure out the best distraction.
So what can Presto do? Just like the fire and stuff, or what else?
Yeah, Presto's smaller stuff, so it's going to be like lighting candles, lighting candles or small fires.
Oh.
You can like clean your clothes or make something. Yeah. I would say if you're trying to do a big distraction, Presto is more of like small stuff, right? Like Presto might like, if you're on a one-on-one situation, it might like put some sparks in someone's face that might give them disadvantage on an attack. So yeah, I think if you're looking for a distraction for this camp to maybe like as a thought to either get them to be paying attention to something else to attack them or to like lead them away from their main camp so you can like try to go in and grab stuff.
Suddenly like sort of like a light bulb comes up on her head and she looks so exasperated over at her friend and exclaims,
What if we make a lot of noise with the thunder wave, but you'll have to get really far away because Bobby doesn't want to hurt you.
He gives a thought. So you'll use your thunder wave, which will make a loud noise, and try to pull them away from the camp.
And we'll scram.
Okay. So where should I should be away, and what do you want me to do?
If you want to try to run in and grab your ring, maybe we could look through the sacks while I do my thunder wave and then maybe climb up the tree.
So you'll make the sound away, hopefully leading some of, or maybe all of them away. I'll go into camp. Are you going to stay by where you cast thunder wave, or are you going to run to the camp as well?
I'll follow you, but I might just be a little bit farther behind.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you think it's worth it?
I think it could. I imagine if there was some sort of loud, weird noise, they'd want to go check it out. At the if it got all of them away, that'd be amazing. And even if it just got some, we might be able to handle them a little better. Poppy, it's a great idea.
Thank you.
she blushes a little bit and turns away.
He kind of like gives himself a nod, trying to like hype himself up for it, being like, we're not going to die. We're not going to die. We're not going to die.
We're not gonna die. We're not gonna die. We're not gonna die. If we live, can you sing a song with Poppy?
Yeah, sure.
And this kind of like encourages her to do better because she has something to look forward to other than JJ's happiness.
Okay, run. Get away from here.
After he runs away a little bit, she kind of thinks to herself that she's going to switch up and not really tell him so it wouldn't worry him.
Yeah.
And she grabs Shatter through like music or like through like yelling or something.
It's just like a loud ringing noise that's really loud and intense will start up from a spot. You know, you probably use it. I'd like imagine like you are looking at a spot and you are playing a note from your flute that like then almost like that loud shrill instead of coming from where you are is coming from this spot like 60 feet away.
With her hands coated in sweat, she grabs her flute, shaking, and looks into the distance near the guards and lets out a very loud shriek.
Okay. Yeah. So in general, you see Jalen kind of sneak around to the other side of like kind of coming from the back, and you move along towards the camp and pick a spot. How far away do you want this noise to be from the camp?
I guess like in between the guards and like the camp? Are they next to each other or are they separated?
From what Jalen would have explained is like the guards there. I mean, so there's like 4 people who have been patrolling who are probably only standing about like 40 feet from the camp itself. And then the other 6 are in the camp just hanging out. So if you're trying to do it between it, like it's not going to give a lot of distance. So you'd probably want to not have it be between the camp and the guards. But yeah, you can choose how far you want the noise to be from the camp in general.
She shoots it a little bit to the left, but into the forest, so that way they'd have to get up and go check it out, and runs to the right where Jalen is.
Okay. So distance-wise, what do you want that to be? Like
I don't know.
like a quarter mile? I mean, I feel like you probably wouldn't want to go more than a quarter mile, 'cause that'd be
probably
kinda
around
far.
a quarter of a mile. And as she's running back over to him, she's stumbling a little bit, tripping on herself, and really just like losing her balance and throwing her arms out behind her to keep some sort of coordination.
You play out that loud noise, like just kind of on the edge where it's like far enough away, but it is still audible, and it is this weird, just discordant ringing in the distance, a little loud and uncomfortable for all to hear.
When she slowly gets closer to him, in a somewhat fearing voice, she says,
Are they moving, or has anybody moved?
Yeah, roll a stealth check for me as you're kind of heading over as well.
I rolled 22.
Damn, that's good. Yeah, you do the noise and then kind of just slink away. You're probably not paying all that much attention to the movements of them as you're just trying to get there without being noticed. But yeah, as you get to Jalen and ask, he kind of points out, and you see that everyone in the camp has kind of gotten up and seems like they have been alerted to this noise. The Metal Gear exclamation point is above them. You see the 4 who are kind of standing guard, like do a little bit of a wave over to one another, and 5 in total start to walk towards the noise. And the others who are there, including Yulrik, who is staying there, all seem to kind of be on their guard. You know, they're not like sitting back down
Relaxing.
to just chill,
Yeah.
but like, and they're not necessarily like starting to do rounds around the camp, but they are looking out. You know, a few of them have pulled out their swords just in case something goes wrong. You know, they are on alert. But yeah, 5 of them, so half of them kind of go off to your noise. So it's just the other 5 at the camp.
Wondering what else they could do, she looks at him with half their mission pretty much going the way it should and asks,
Do you have a good arm on you?
He kind of like moves, you know, he has a little, you know, coat, and he moves his coat, and you see a bunch of daggers inside. I can throw these all right.
Oh, Poppy just meant like a rock or something, but if we're gonna go all out, we're gonna go all out.
Well, I don't know that we'll be able to get these away from the camp. Puppy, have you killed anyone before?
No, I've killed people with laughter.
and she kind of just remembers people buckling over and laughing during her performance.
All right. Well, if you can, you know, at least distract or knock them out or get them uninterested in fighting in some way, that'd be good, and I can handle the others.
You want Poppy to give a performance?
Well, I mean, if you mean I mean, don't just play your music, but if you have different magics like the one you cast to make that noise.
Yes. And she looks excited over at him and kind of lets him know, I saved my thunder attack.
Okay. All right.
Or I could climb the tree and throw rocks at people. That seems fun.
Kind of looks and is like, I think we'll need something stronger than rocks for the rest of these, unless you want to have some other way to lead them away.
No.
I guess, and she kind of questions him, wondering,
Am I supposed to go after the guards and you go into the camp all by yourself? That sounds scary.
Both of us could go in the camp, try to attack who's there, and grab as much stuff as we can, grab our things and go.
she nods, agreeing, and sort of looks towards a bush and wants to let him know that she could hide in there while he can kind of sneak around a little bit. And she's up for a stealth mission.
So you want to just try to sneak into the camp around these 5? Or are you trying to
If you want,
fight them? What do you want?
Poppy could fight them so that way they learn their lesson. Let's go. I'll go into the bush and you'll be next to me and I'll go first and maybe try to reason with them. Then if things go bad, we can use our abilities and all the daggers you brought.
He looks, gives a small nod. All right. He points to a spot. He like scans the camp and points to a spot that's like a little bit of ways from the bags and what all that stuff like that they seem to have where they're collecting things. And he says, "You walk and stand right there and try to reason with them, and I'll wait around in case anything goes wrong."
You're gonna yoink their stuff.
Yeah, I'll sneak behind and try to grab the things as you reason with them.
And she goes out to the assigned spot and looks over with a nod of agreement to let him know that she's ready to go and reason with them.
Okay. Yeah. As you walk to the spot as like the distraction spot, you kind of see him slink down into the shadows and you lose track of where he is.
And yeah.
Yeah. And you step forward out into the camp. At this point, I imagine like the men are pretty far away, you know, who the 5 who like left. They are out of not earshot, but out of visual space. They seem it would take them a little bit to get here, so you definitely have a little time before having them return. And yeah, you take a step and you're not trying to be stealthy or just stepping forward.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you step forward and it takes a minute for any of them to notice. Or yeah, you step forward. Do you say anything or?
She kind of clears her throat a little bit and looks towards the leader.
As soon as you clear your throat, like 3 men turn towards you, like and have swords pointed. Yelric's eyes are on you. You see him give like a little half smile. And yeah, go ahead.
Long time no see. And she lets out a little giggle, albeit a little bit nervous, and tries to charm him and win him over with a smile on her face, saying,
You took something really important from my friend. You can keep everything else. We just want this one little thing, please.
Gives him some puppy dog eyes.
He like takes a step towards you and the other men are too. They like still have their swords out. Seeing that it's just you at the moment, they seem a little more at ease. Are you, by charming him, are you casting charm person or is this just a, okay. So you are trying to charm person him with it. All right. And your DC is 12.
Yes.
All right.
Please roll low.
A natural 1.
Yes! Yes, finally! Oh,
Okay.
you're lying to make me happy. Finally! Yes!
All right, nat 1. Okay, so you attempt to charm a humanoid creature you can see within range. It must make a wisdom saving throw and does so with advantage if you're not fighting it currently. Okay, it has failed, so it is charmed.
Okay.
The charmed creature regards you as a friendly acquaintance.
Ooh!
And when the spell ends, it knows it was charmed by you.
Oh.
Okay. So it does have an hour.
Oh, an hour? Holy crap, that's a long time. I need this in real life.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. A perfect time for me to get a bad roll, damn.
He's not just gonna give it to me, is he?
One thing I need you to do is like make a sleight of hand check as well.
Okay.
So this worked. It has charmed him. He is charmed. But if it's very obvious that you are casting this spell, his men will be suspicious.
Oh, okay,
So you will want to do a sleight of hand.
Okay, I got a 7.
Okay. Yelric looks at you and his face softens a fair bit. The ring, your friend's ring, that's what he wants?
And she nods enthusiastically.
Yeah, yes. If you could give that to Poppy, I could just leave or go get you a drink or something.
And she smiles nervously, hoping that she's convincing him enough to hand it over.
And I assume we did also take your rock.
Yes, and Rocky. She was so trying to help out her friend that she totally forgot about Rocky. And she looks around.
Is he here? Are you treating him well?
He touches his pocket and like realizes he never took it out. He didn't really care enough to actually look. He holds it and is like, yes, and holds it out. And he says to one of the men, grab that ring too. And one of the men looks at him and looks at you. Ulrich, she cast something on you. Ulrich's like, no, she's a friend. Why would she do that? Ulrich, you were going to kill her last night. I wouldn't kill my friend. I was just playful stealing of her things. It's how it goes. Are you just kind of like giving the hands behind?
Yeah, I'm like reaching. I'm like, I have my hands behind my back, swaying a little bit, like walking closer to him and trying to grab Rocky while they're discussing.
Okay. Yeah, so you're kind of reaching out to Rocky. He kind of like pulls it back, not like meaning to pull it back from you, but like in a conversation with one of his guards who's like, you're being charmed right now, bro. He's like, no, I'm not. This is just my friend. So I think in general, he is just going to be charmed. His men aren't and are on to you. But certainly having him not trying to mess with you is all right, you know?
That's good. Hoping they're just going to get it?
No. They're kind of arguing with him. Make a perception check.
Okay. I rolled an 8.
You do not notice anything.
Oh.
They are arguing, and Ulrich is just saying, we can give them the things. It's not that big of a deal. And one of them goes and like tries to like kind of push Ulrich and be like, snap out of it. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with me. And he pushes back a little bit.
Oh.
And then one of the men looks at you and says, maybe if we knock her out, the spell will end. And I need you to roll initiative now.
Initiative? Okay, please do something good. Please do something good. Please, I just want to get my friend his ring back. I rolled a 12.
Okay, cool. It's funny. This is, I can't believe it. Like, I make a big villain and like you have charmed him.
I hope.
He is just charmed now. All right. So you got a 12.
Okay.
Oh, this is so messy. It's great. Ulrich is charmed by you. He rolled a 16. So he's higher, but okay. All right, so the one who's closest and began the attack will get to attack first, and has his sword and is just going to swing it at you.
Okay.
He.
What?
Another nat one.
Oh,
He rolled
yes!
a nat one, so he misses you
Yes!
like a motherfucker. He swings, not used to fighting gnomes, and just like completely above your head and misses you. It's an interesting spot because Ulrich is charmed by you, right?
Yes.
So he views you as a friendly acquaintance. These are still his men, right? So
Yes.
he's not going to be like, I'm going to kill my men to help you.
Yeah.
But he is in a spot of like, why are my men attacking my friend?
Yes.
You know? So he's going to not attack with his sword, but he's going to grab the one who just swung at you to kind of be like, hold back, leave her alone. So he's going to try to grapple that one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you have a weird position here where Ulrich is not like, you know, he's a neutral position, mostly trying to stop the combat.
She kind of looks beyond the combat after having a sword just swiped above her head and is looking for Jalen to see if he's anywhere near the bag to try and find his ring.
Let me finish Ulrich's turn and then I'll give you the chance to do that.
Okay.
So Ulrich grabs for this guard who just, for this really bandit, guard is probably the wrong word, but one of his cronies, he grabs for him, and just as you ducked from the swing of the bandit ducks from Ulrich's grab and is just like looking at him flabbergasted, like, my boss is an idiot.
Yeah.
Next up is you. So I'll say for this, like, your bonus action will be taking a quick glance.
Okay.
So yeah, roll a perception check as you kind of like look around.
Okay. Why do I have a candle?
Candles are good.
I rolled a something, an 18.
Yeah, you look to the stuff and you see Jalen kind of going through a lot of it. You see him seemingly grabbing things that maybe aren't all his. He seems to be kind of packing his things with whatever he can.
I guess, like, she wants to... Am I allowed to go, or is that my turn?
That's your bonus action, so you have your action, so you can do some sort of attack or cast a spell.
Oh. I think at this moment she realizes that the best way to go about this through all the bickering is to just kind of distract more rather than go in for a full force attack.
Mm-hmm.
She tries her best to tell another one of her great one-liners to ensue maybe laughter to distract the camp even more from the rummaging going on behind them.
Okay.
Why did the chicken cross the road to take a nap?
Is this just a joke, or are you doing it with a spell?
Yeah, with
as
the
well?
hideous laughter spell.
Okay, cool. Which one do you want to do it on? The one who attacked you, or?
Oh, a creature of your choice.
Yeah, so right now, pretty much the situation is there's you in the camp. There is Jalen by the supplies. Obviously, you're not attacking Jalen. There's Yulric, who is trying to kind of stop the fight.
Okay.
And then there are 4 other cronies around.
Oh, it's just one.
Who all seem hostile towards you. There's one who just attacked you, and then there's 3 others who are making like steps towards you. So you could pretty effectively get rid of one of,
Yeah, maybe the one that. Well, I think she kind of thinks in her head to leave the one that's arguing or having a stance against the leader with as just attacking with him, so that way that they're already distracted and goes for one of the freestanding guards.
So that is a save, and then, right? Or is that an attack? Wisdom save and throw. And you said yours was 12, right?
Yes.
Your save DC?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
One.
Not a 1, but an 8.
Yes!
So
Oh my god, I'm the luckiest person in the world.
he looks at you and what was the joke again? Chicken
Cross the road.
Thinking about chickens and roads, and he gives a chuckle, and then another, and just falls down onto the ground laughing.
Yes.
So cool. All right, so I think you've used 2 first level spells now and 1 second level.
Yes.
Okay, that's just still got some spells left.
Yes.
Cool. Sweet. So that one who's up next falls onto the ground laughing.
Okay. Yes.
Another one is going to run up to you and take a swing with his sword.
Uh-oh.
That is a 11 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
What is your AC?
A 13.
13. So an 11 does not hit. So he misses with his swing.
What's happening? Is this like Home Alone?
Yeah. And then another one is going to run up and make an attack as well.
Okay.
His was a 21.
Oh, that's
that
not good.
motherfucker hits. Okay. A few things happen. So one is you take 9 points of slashing damage as his sword kind of cuts across your chest.
Jeez.
So your total hit points are 24. So 9 points, so 15. So now you're at 15,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So big slash. And I need you now to make a wisdom check
Okay.
to maintain concentration on your spell. So this will be core. You have to roll above a 10 or higher.
A 10 or higher in wisdom?
Yeah. And that's you maintain concentration on your spell.
Okay. I'm nervous. I got it. Ugh. 14!
14, yeah. You take the big slash, you have not really been hit like this before in your life, and it hurts, and there's some blood is welling up, and the guy on the floor is still laughing his ass off. He has not stopped. But all right, yeah.
We live in a society.
Back to the top of the order now. The one who attacked you in the first place, but was kind of getting in with it with Yulric. Instead of swinging at you again, he's kind of like pissed that Yulric tried to grab him. He's not going to swing his sword at Yulric because, again, they're friends. But he is going to clock Yulric in the face, kind of an attempt to knock him out of whatever this charm is his goal, seemingly.
The girls are fighting.
And yeah, he makes contact with Yulric, and Yulric takes some damage. Yulric does not seem like his focus has changed.
Mm-hmm.
He does seem pretty pissed at his guy now. And in response, he is going to dive at his crony and just try to like tackle him again.
Oh my god.
So it'll be a competing grapple check. Yeah, and he just jumps on him and like tackles the guy who just punched him in the face and pins him to the ground. It reminds you for a moment of the way he had kind of like twisted at Jalen's arm the night before. And yeah.
It's
So
WWE
that's
move.
him. Yeah. And then next is you had seen him a moment going like through everything, trying to grab as many things as possible. But as soon as you took the slash and yelled out, you saw like Jalen's head kind of pop up, and now you see him throwing a knife at the one who just slashed at you. Unfortunately, that'll miss. It flies over his shoulder, and he kind of like is alerted to Jalen, and he yells out, "Attack at the camp! Attack at the camp!" Like just trying to be as
goofball.
loud as possible to get the other people. So Jalen misses with his dagger, but has made a throw, and this guy has yelled things out. You are up now.
Oh my god, dude, he effed it all up. I had everything under control.
But he cares about you. He doesn't want you to die.
That's why I'm horrible to
You
play
made a
with.
friend. Dude, Jalen, you're feeding.
He's feeding, dude. But that was nice. He had good intentions. Can I insult the guy who's yelling for the other people with like vicious mockery in hopes that he stops yelling?
I mean, you could try.
Alarmed at how fast Jalen came to her rescue, she feels a sense of warmth inside of her that she's never felt before, and turns over to the guy who's shouting and uses all of the insults she has on book in order to hopefully get him to stop yelling. You freaking loser, dumpster diver, knuckles sandwich goofball, stop yelling.
All right. An 11. So your spell save DC is 12.
Yeah.
So he fails. So he rolled damage on that.
Okay, 2.
2. All right, 2 damage. So he similar to Yelric the night before, gets a little nosebleed. And he will have disadvantage on his next attack,
Okay,
which is something.
that's good.
So that's yeah, you. Anything else you want to do? You have a bonus action. You have like healing work. You have taken some damage.
Oh, I
so
could heal myself.
you could heal
Okay,
yourself.
I forgot. I'm not normally thinking about myself. I'm
You
thinking
don't
about
need
other
to,
people. Yeah, for my bonus action, she uses Bardic Inspiration to aid Jalen after he made a very touching moment on her and made her realize that she needs to be there for him as well.
Okay.
Do I have to sing or something?
How do you want to inspire?
Jalen, that's our man. If he can't do it, no one can.
Yeah. He seems a little warmed and heartened by it. Do you want to stay where you're standing, or?
I guess I'll like hop back a little bit closer to Jalen, knowing that he's definitely way more combative than I could ever be.
Yeah, so if you move out of range of the guy that attacked you, he gets an attack of opportunity. So if you want to just kind of like shuffle around him to at least be more on the side that Jalen is
Yeah.
on, you can do that, but you're still like in range.
I'll do that, just
Okay.
like for a sense of security.
All right, so this guy so that's your turn. There's the guy who's on the ground laughing. He gets to make a save every round.
Okay.
And that's a 5. So he does not save.
guess I'm
He's
so
still
funny.
laughing at your chicken joke. Next up, there's 2 who attacked you. 1 missed you. Okay, they're going to keep attacking you.
Okay.
So 1 is going to take a swing. And it is a 15 to hit. So you have 1 more Bardic Inspiration. You have an ability called Cutting Words, where you can use one of your Bardic Inspiration points to roll a d6 and subtract that from their roll.
I definitely have to. I have like no HP left. I got a 3. So halfway there.
So it was a 15 to hit, and now it's a 12 to hit. What is your armor class again?
13.
13? Okay, so that misses.
Yay!
Yeah, that was it. You needed at least 3.
I love
So
gambling.
hit that was gonna roll. Yeah, good use. What do you say to like distract him as he's swinging at you?
Your shoes are untied.
He's like, what? He looks down. And yeah, and actually one of his boot laces is untied. And yeah, he swings and misses you with that. Okay, cool.
Perfect.
The other one is going to attack you. He has disadvantage though because of your vicious mockery. He's got a nosebleed, so he's going to attack. One of them was a 22 to hit. The other was a 10. So he has to go with the lower because he has disadvantage. So a good use of vicious mockery. He will miss you.
Yes.
So these motherfuckers just missing all
I feel
day.
so powerful.
Yeah, cool. So then there is, back to the top of the round, there is the one who is being pinned currently by Yulrik. He is going to try to get Yulrik off of him. He does not succeed.
What the heck?
And Yulrik has like him pinned with the one arm, and he's like looking back to the rest of his men. Leave her alone. Just let them go, okay? Let the guy have his ring. Like, she's my friend, you know? Let him go.
Aw, what a nice guy.
He does seem like a little concerned with Jalen in a way that he's not to you.
Oh, yeah.
Because he does not have any sort of charm to it. But because you're together, there is like a, you know, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But it does seem Jalen's probably more on thin ice with
Not
him.
guilty by association.
He mostly cares about protecting you, but yeah. So next up is Jalen, who threw a knife and is running up and is going to now try to stab the guy who attacked.
Oh, yes. Kill him. Fight night.
Yeah, he runs up. So he attacks the guy who had hit you and just had the nosebleed, who he did vicious mockery, and just kind of jabs the knife into his side, and the guy's eyes roll back into his head, and he collapses to the ground.
One shot. Glass
Jalen
cannon.
Yeah, I mean, he hit the exact amount of damage he needed to knock him out because of the damage you had done. So works a team effort. So that guy's knocked out. This does get Yulrik to like look with concern at one of his men and look at Jalen, who just knocked him down. It's not Yulrik's turn, so he can't move yet, but you do see him kind of loosen his grip on the guy he tackled, and his eyes are on Jalen.
Oh, not my friend.
Now it is your turn. So there's one who's like knocked out. There's one who's on the ground laughing. There's one who's perfectly fine. And then there is the one that Yulrik has tackled. And Yulrik.
Oh. Can I just attack the other guy?
The one who's like fine and healthy.
Yeah, with like a knife or something?
Yeah, you have a dagger.
Okay, I want to fisticuffs him. She like starts going towards him and makes a lunge with her dagger to do damage to him.
All right.
I got a 20.
20 to hit. Sweet. So 20 hits. Now roll damage.
I got a 5.
5. All right, sweet.
Is that good?
5 is pretty good damage.
Okay.
So this one who's been attacking sees Jalen bring the friend down, and then sees you, and then like looks down and sees you with a knife, and is like, haha. And then you just swing it and like cut his kneecaps. And just, ow, ow. He's still up, definitely looking pretty hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear Yulrik yell out like, stop fighting. You're gonna kill each other. And that's you. The guy's still up. Do you want to do anything else? You do have your bonus action if you'd like to use healing word or something.
I guess I'll heal myself because I'm pretty low, and I don't know if I have any more like tricks in my bag if I get hit again.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll healing word. Inspire myself by saying, get all better.
I think you have 1 first level and 1 second level.
Okay.
So you have like shatter left.
A 5 healing.
5. All right, you heal 5.
Wow, back to 20, baby.
Not bad. Cool. That's you. You want to move at all, or you kind of like back to back with Jalen?
Yeah, like Avenger style. Like we're just like back to back, looking cool.
Okay, cool.
That's what matters.
There's the one who's laughing. Got an 11, so is going to continue laughing. Sweet.
That was the best joke I ever told in my life.
And then there's the one who you just attacked who's going to attack you back.
Okay.
That is a 11 to hit, which your AC is 13, right?
Yeah.
That'll miss.
Nice. I feel so lucky.
One dude is bleeding out on the ground. There's the guy who's been pinned under Yulrik. Yulrik is going to stand up, though.
Okay.
And he is going to make one more appeal to you. Y'all stop fighting. This is becoming a problem. And he's like definitely glancing at Jalen, kind of like not having the same positive emotions he has towards you, towards Jalen. And you just saw Jalen take out one of his men. Let me help my man.
Looking towards this direction after he exclaimed, "No more fighting," she just questions,
Well, just give us the stuff and we'll leave.
So I guess technically Jalen was first, but he would like he would follow your lead.
"Oh, okay."
But he is holding a dagger, so that's my bad. But he's kind of like watching you, like in a position to attack, like at any moment. But yeah, and then you say that roll a persuasion check.
Okay. I got a 15.
He never gave back Rocky. He like looks at Rocky and looks at you, and he tosses Rocky to you.
I give him a hug after I catch him and just kind of jump around in circles excitedly. "Rocky, Rocky, 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 I missed you." "Now, the ring?" And she looks a little bit confused at him.
He kind of looks at you all. Jalen was like, I got it.
Oh. Am I just allowed to leave?
Yulrik would be like, you have the things you came for. Let me heal my man. And listen, we're friends, Poppy. If you can put behind my men attacking you, I can put behind you attacking my men.
I guess I could do that just because I really like you, but nobody else would ever get this treatment from me.
She kind of like just starts walking towards the exit with Jalen. I assume he's somewhat
Like
confused.
slowly, yeah. So there is still the crony who has been attacking you, who knows Yulrik is charmed, right? And like knows what's going on. And he like turns to, we can't do this. And the one that Yulrik was pinning, who is now like Yulrik has moved off of, is standing up as well. It's like, snap out of it, sir. But yeah, are the two of you just kind of moving out like slowly?
Yeah, like slowly walking backwards.
Okay, here's what we'll do.
Okay. You probably weren't expecting this.
I did not think it would go this way. But yeah, you take a few steps back. As you move out of his range, the one who just missed you, crony number 3 is his name.
Okay, cool name.
You do provoke attack of opportunity as you move away from him. So he will attack you
Okay.
as you're trying to kind of move away.
And like if I dodge this, do I get to leave?
You do dodge it. He rolled a 7, so you miss it. So he swings at you, and you start kind of backing away. Jalen backing away as well. Are you doing it slowly, or do you?
I think at first it was slow to cause no suspicion, and then after the guy attacks me, since it technically broke the agreement that we had, I kind of just like dash for it.
Okay. As you start dashing, Yulrik walks over towards the man that was hurt by Jalen, and like seems like his focus is trying to help him because he doesn't really care about you guys because you charmed him.
Yeah.
And just wants to help his guy.
Aww.
The other two are going to chase after you.
Oh.
They will start chasing you, and they will be yelling to try to bring over the other 5 who did stuff. But yeah, you and Jalen start running. I need you to make an athletics check.
Oh no, this is where it's all gonna go wrong. I'm rolling, and I got a 18.
18, that's pretty good. Yeah, the two of you just start sprinting. You know, he's not carrying you because like he's more of like running a bit ahead of you, trying to push things out of the way to like clear a bit of a path.
Aww.
You know, and every once in a while, like when there's a little jump over a creek bed or something, he'll just kind of like grab you by the back of your shirt and like lift you up.
like
you
a
know?
flag, like floating around
yeah.
behind him.
But the people are still chasing after you, not like necessarily catching up, but running near the same pace. They are following you pretty close behind. It seems like the two who are at the camp, the one that was pinned and the one that was attacking, are right behind you. The other ones who had been led away from your trap are further behind, not really in sight, but following the yells of these guys. What do you do?
I'll use shatter on the people behind us. How many people can it hit?
So it's a 10-foot radius. So
Ooh.
if they're close to each other, I mean, currently there are only 2 close to you and the other 5 are further away. You kind of get the sense if you are in combat with these guys for too long, the other ones will catch up with you.
Yes.
So it's kind of like if you are engaging, gotta hope it's quick. But Shatter's a very strong spell, you know? If you roll well, it could be a good answer. If you roll poorly, it'll be bad.
No.
But like anything else, you know, it's all about how well you roll, right?
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the chance. I'm gonna gamba.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, they're continuing going. Do you just kind of like give Jalen a signal of like, gotta take care of these guys?
Yeah, I just let him know, like with a nod, that it's kind of our only option at this point, and it has to be pretty quick.
Okay.
Do I roll it?
Yeah. So this is another save situation.
Okay.
They are kind of next to each other, so you'll hit both of them. So they have to roll con saving throws. What's good is no matter what, they take damage. If they succeed the saves, they take half damage, and if they fail them, they take the full damage.
Okay.
So no matter what, they will take something, which is all right.
Okay.
So I will roll that.
Okay, I got a 12.
12.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
And both of them have failed. It's got a 7 and an 8. You point back, like kind of in a panic, and a loud shrill comes out, similar to the one you had, I mean, exactly the same as the one you had used before. And yeah, you see them kind of like slow down, take a step, buckle down their knees, and grab at their ears. Roll a perception check.
Okay. I got a 9.
Well, this will be an interesting thing. Poppy does not see this, all right? But you as the player can know that blood starts coming out of their ears as they fall down onto the ground, seemingly knocked out. Poppy does not see that, though. She just sees that they have stopped following. Jalen does seem to know see the blood and like kind of looks at Poppy like, holy shit, like she's powerful.
She's so bad.
And yeah, the two of you keep running. It does seem like obviously you made this loud noise, which is going to continue to attract the group of people, but you can continue running, trying to get away.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep running.
Okay, yeah, so the two of you keep going. With that, in the distance you've had, I'm going to have you roll a stealth check at advantage as kind of like the final, like, you know, get behind that corner and be aware.
Okay, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Da-da-da-da-da. I got, what does that mean? 7 and a 5, so I guess I got a 7.
Yeah, 7. You hit a point and you can hear them in the distance, seemingly at where you were, and then hear a voice say, they must have gone this way.
Skyrim style.
On your trail. It seems like they are continuing to follow. You have not sufficiently lost them. You and Jalen are kind of there catching your breath. What do you want to try to do?
I could go out and maybe hit them with my... do I have one ability left? I guess it's my thunder. I'm gonna hit him with my thunder.
You have one first level spell.
Okay. I'm gonna risk it all.
There's a lot of them. We might be better to just try to keep running.
Am I allowed to like see things, or is that like a perception check? Like, can I look over and kind of see like a slope going down?
You could roll a perception check for sure.
Okay.
And see kind of what's in the area.
I got a 6. No, everything's like horrible.
There's trees.
There's trees everywhere. Can he do stuff, or is it just me?
He can do stuff, yeah.
Do you see anywhere that we could maybe escape?
He would kind of like look around at the different places, you know, in the different spots. We could split up.
No. She looks down at the flute that she's holding and gives like a long, hard look at it, and hands it over to him with a slight smile, saying,
My brother gave this to me, so hold on to it, and maybe if you need to call me over, you can do it like that.
He gives a nod. You go that way.
okay, I just run. Whatever
Okay.
direction that is.
Yeah, he kind of points one direction and you head that way. And then you see him sprint off the other way. And then after you're probably like a few, you've sprinted for like half a minute. You start to hear just the sound of a flute being played loudly. Like I don't have it, so
Oh, dear.
I should have bought a recorder. Yeah, you just almost, and you just assume it is Jalen trying to make noise, trying to lead them away from you. And yeah, and he keeps sprinting, and then eventually the sound stops.
Oh my god, now I have to do something.
What do you were just running away for a while. What do you do now? It seems like the voices are no longer right behind you. They do not seem, it seems like whatever was kind of chasing you, you do not feel that threat. It is kind of quiet around you right now.
Oh. After stopping and thinking for a second, she remembered that she can't just leave him to his own, and honestly, like, going on and living without him would be worse than going to try and save him. So she goes through the bushes in an attempt to kind of be unseen to check out what's happening.
All right, roll a stealth check.
21!
Yeah. So you start kind of sneaking along and moving, probably like back in the direction that you had come from.
Yeah, like towards the sound.
Yeah, or where you had last heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you head that way and are sneaking along, trying your best to move that way. Roll a perception check for me.
Okay. I got a 22.
And as you are moving back towards the noise, you don't even get like super close to where even you had split up, because you're moving quite slow.
Mm-hmm.
You hear like the snap of a twig breaking just a little bit to your left.
I'm gonna keep moving a little forward, but watching to the left after I heard the sound.
Yeah. As you're continuing to move and you look over where the sound came from, you see what looks to be a hooded figure kind of darting between the trees, heading from the direction that you had just come.
I kind of want to use my presto to kind of like make like a little bit of light so that he knows I'm near him.
Okay. Yeah. What do you want the light to look like? Just
What color was his ring?
it was like a silver ring.
Okay, it's gonna be like a silver light kind of facing a little bit to his left, so that way he knows to look towards me, or I guess right, whatever direction I'm in.
Okay. Yeah. The light kind of flickers and you see his head turn quickly. Panicked, you see him kind of grab for his knife and then see you. And then he eases and just stands up.
Oh,
I told you that we should split up.
Friends don't leave friends behind.
He gives a nod.
Did you get your stuff back? Or do you have everything?
and she looks a little bit worried, kind of like trying to take care of him, see if he has any wounds.
Are you okay?
Yeah, they weren't able to catch me. I'm fast.
Sonic. I'm fast.
You do see that the ring is back on his finger.
You got it. You got it back.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to head back, or if you want, you can go do your own thing now.
He kind of kneels down. There are different ways to handle folks like that we just got our stuff back from.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't really handle them in the way where they won't come after us again.
Mm-hmm.
We handled them in the way where if we stay around here, they will find and probably kill us, especially someone like you who performs at the same time every night at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Used to.
Used to. I don't think there's much going back.
Do you want to go forward together?
He kind of like stands up and looks around, and you see him kind of wiggle the ring on his finger back and forth. He hands you the flute back.
Thank you. We could split up. I'm good with like the terrain, and I can just go live off the land like I used to.
Why don't we see about finding your brother?
Oh. She looks as if she's about to start crying, and her eyes are watering up, and gives a quick nod and a sigh of relief.
Oh, please, thank you.
He gives a nod back. Now though, let's get the fuck out of here.
She laughs and kind of holds onto his arm again, and they start running in a direction opposite of the people.
And as the two of you move away, a friendship formed and on search for presumably your brother and on new adventures. I think that's a good place for us to end this session.
That was so cute. I wrote my own fan fiction with you. We were role playing together.
That's what D&D is. It's just writing fan fiction. Yeah. It's exactly what it is. Well, awesome. This was a lot of fun.
That was so fun.
Took a lot of good twists and turns. For all of you still listening, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this little adventure of heartwarming innocence and and goofiness. That was great. We will talk some more about this session and stuff that went behind it on that in After the Roll, the Patreon podcast. So, if you like Patreon and me and extra podcasts, go go listen to it.
Go be a goofy little guy on Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. Or not. That's fine too. Do whatever makes you happy. But thank you all for listening so much. Barry, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to cry and throw up at the same time. This is amazing.
You've played D&D. That's what it is. Yeah, you figured it out. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was a blast. Hopefully, whether it is as Poppy or just you coming back as some other character, hopefully, you enjoyed this enough to want to do it again someday.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I've never had an experience that felt like so free. Like I could just say anything. It was really cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all for listening. I hope you have a great day and or night, and see you in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye. It's that time again to see what is going on with all of our heroes of Cortia. So let's get started. First is Emmanuel Villip, a human wizard living in the crime capital of Cortia, the city of Tipport. He leaned against a railing overlooking the water and took a drag from his cigarette. The sun was setting, creating a mess of orange and purple across the sky. He pushed a thought of Morton away and kept looking out. "Nice night," a familiar voice said, somewhere off to his right. Emmanuel didn't look over, but said, "What do you want, Till?" The half-orcish man leaned on the rail next to Emmanuel. "I have a job for you. The port guard want to hire someone to solve a string of robberies." Emmanuel looked over at Till. He was still in uniform, the same kind Emmanuel had once worn with pride. "They want me, even after what happened?" Till turns his head away. "Not exactly. They want the case solved, and I think you're the best hope of that happening." Emmanuel laughed. "And why's that?" Till took a long moment to respond, but then said, "It's in the Collar District." Emmanuel put his head down and simply muttered "fuck" under his breath. Following that, there is Aurora of Winter, a Tabaxi paladin who has undertaken an oath of blindness in pursuit of serving justice. Most recently, she has been doing so by searching for whoever murdered the Reese of a small hamlet. While she knew there was a chance an outsider had committed the crime, in a place this tiny and far away from typical civilization, in all likelihood, it must have been someone in town. So she did what she did best. Listen. She sat in the hamlet's tavern, pretending to drink while eavesdropping on every conversation. She went to the temple of Chantia and feigned prayer as she held onto every word muttered under the breaths of those asking for love and forgiveness from the goddess. And she walked down the village's dirt streets, tuning into every conversation she passed by. Through all of this, 3 names began to stand out. Those belonging to the Reese's wife, the Reese's son, and the Reese's brother. After that, we have Nazima Alta, a ratfolk fighter currently deep in the dungeons of the Brannian Keep, trying to complete her portion of a heist. She darted along the tunnels, her tail never touching the ground, and eventually came to a big brass door with 4 locks. She pulled out her picks and got to work. With little to no trouble, each lock clicked into place. They had been exactly like the ones she had practiced on. She opened the door just enough to slide through and found herself in a room that felt nothing like where she had just come from. It was well furnished, lit almost as if it weren't hundreds of feet below the ground, and it smelt like grass and leaves. What was even more strange is that the room was split with bars blocking one side from the other. On the other side of the bar sat a middle-aged half-elven woman with a sense of regality about her. She looked up and smiled. "So, are you here to kill me or rescue me?" Nazima spun her knife. Then there is Pumpkin, a forest gnome running a detective agency in Bellin, who was recently hired to investigate Captain Braggart of the Lord's Guard by his wife, who believes he is the notorious Clearwater Killer. Braggart's wife, Yisa, didn't give Pumpkin all that much to go on. No hard evidence, mostly just accounts of him saying he'd be one place, but then actually being at another. Little lies that had been adding up. It sounded to Pumpkin more like a cheating husband than a serial killer, but a job was a job. She just needed to be careful with this one. So she came up with a plan. She'd track him during the day as best she could through disguises and other illusion magics, and her badger Snuffles would trail him at night, making sure he wasn't going too far off the beaten path. Days and days passed of nothing, and she was ready to give up. Next is Tozier the Jagged and his traveling companion Rylan, who have been making their way along the valley and coast. Neither had seen a city like Valia before. Paintings lining every building, colorful lights floating in the sky, and people everywhere. Rylan smiled as he walked through the streets while Tozier frowned. Far too many people. Although that did mean more folks to bless with Arthea's light. A sweet smell hit Tozier's nose, one that reminded him of home. He looked to it and saw a man selling roasted nuts, and before he realized it, he had set down a gold piece on the stand and taken a bag. He and Rylan took a seat next to the river, and he poured some into the boy's hands. They sat in silence, looking at the lights shimmering off the water. "These are really good," Rylan said, smiling. Tozier looked over at the boy and nodded. He realized that he would have to find a place for him here. The road ahead would be too dangerous. Next, we have Virgil Bowerstone and his party of adventurers who have found themselves in battle with an aboleth. Finally free from its hold on him, Virgil swung his mace once, twice, 3 times, batting the beast back. In a deep voice, he yelled, "Hit it with all you've got!" The whoosh of an arrow, the swing of a sword, a blast of ice, a discordant shrill. The beast reared back at the attacks of his party members. And now it was Virgil's turn. He held onto his holy symbol and whispered a word of prayer. The room quickly became bathed in a bright light, brighter than the sunniest day, brighter than 1,000 candles. It was almost blinding. He couldn't see anything, but he could hear. And he heard a screech, and then a crash, and then nothing but the heavy breaths of him and his companions. Next is Keelan Damari, a mountain dwarf and former soldier who has been taking jobs across Cortia, which is how he found himself on a simple caravan escort job that just got far more complicated. As he jumped out of the cart, he saw the winged beast bearing down on them, a frenzied look in its eye. Almost entirely on instinct, he grabbed his battle axe and sprinted towards the beast. A dragon? Here? Well, at least it would make for quite the story. With its focus on the wagon, he took it by surprise, digging a few inches into its hide before pulling back for another swipe, this time at its neck. As he swung, it turned at the last second and he hit the tail instead. Now, the beast was focused on him. It flapped its wings, and a moment later, his back was touching the ground. He could see the fire building in the beast's throat as it bore down on him, and then he heard a voice in the distance yell out. Which leads us to Hatton the half-elf, who has tracked down a wormling only to find it attacking a caravan of traders. He watched as it pinned down a dwarven man. Unsure of exactly what to do, he decided to just do something. He began sprinting towards the beast, yelling at the top of his lungs, and it was only after a moment that he realized he was speaking in Draconic. The head of the dragon turned to him, and without thinking twice, Hatton reached into his component pouch, pulled out a pepper, whispered a few words, and shoved it in his mouth. Instead of burning like he had expected, the pepper felt cool. And a moment later, his throat seemed almost coated in ice. Then he let out a breath, and a blast of snow and cold erupted from his mouth, hitting the beast. It screamed out in pain and darted at Hatton. He tried to move out of the way, but it grasped him in its claws. It tried to lift him in the air, but its wings could barely even hold it up. So instead, they skimmed along the ground, hitting bushes and trees and loose stones, and it was then that Hatton noticed the cliff's edge. So that is what is up with all of them. Along with the heroes of Cortia, I'd like to thank the citizens of Allhearth who are currently voting on how to move forward with the Winter Dew Festival. The attendants expected at the next meeting are Adustus, Bladed SK, Ethan Hill, Fadouge, Gleb Borjevsky, Grizzly Melon, Jack Weird, Joachim Dahlquist, Merrick16, Ming, Mythical Master Zero, Nersbone, Phil Emarg, Preston Metters, Rami Kabi, Ruka, Savara, Seth Romand, Softstar, and Travis Croats. May this be the best Winter Dew Festival yet. Anyway, hope we all have a great day and or night. Bye.